Hi everyone, my name's Evie and welcome to my channel. Today we are playing Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. From what I gather, this is heavily inspired by the Ace Attorney games, which have been super fun to play in my own time. With the new game being released recently, I thought instead of jumping on that bandwagon, I'd open this one up and actually check it out because it's been sitting on my desktop for half a year and I figured it was about time to check it out. So, without further ado, we are just going to jump in and see how this one plays. Case 1, the Cold-Hearted Aristocrat. Fields of battle are filled with suffering and despair. On them are a clash of souls. Souls brought to conflict by the corrupt powers that rule over them. I was transporting a client in my carriage that evening. We were driving by the McCoy Tavern when we heard a disturbance. I was worried that something was amiss, so I walked into the building to see what the commotion was. There, I saw the defendant. It was lit by the blue glow of the dining room lights, and she was stabbing the victim with her magical sword.
Objection!
Oh, I love this. Oh. Mr. Rudolph, you testified that you saw my client murdering the victim, and you supposedly saw her casting magic while doing so? Yes, I could never forget such a grisly sight. That moment was burned into my memory. I see. Well, it's funny you say that. How so? Please be careful with the table. Because your entire testimony was a complete lie. What?
Objection!
Are you accusing the witness of perjury? Surely you know that such accusations can't be made lightly, Mr. Cuthbert. My accusation is far from baseless, Steelwind. Think about the state of the crime scene at the time of the murder. The witness couldn't have seen anything, much less a homicide. Oh my god. Is this inspired by Ace Attorney, or is this just a love letter to Ace Attorney? Because, whatever, I'm here for it. It's beautiful. But on this battlefield, there are still a few people who carry the ideals of justice within their hearts. But you have to wonder sometimes, are these ideals truly just? Or are they simply lies fed to us by our elders? Damn it. Damn it. Thin heart, you fool. Why couldn't you have just listened to me? Rudolph, I require your assistance. Yeah, do you know what? He looks appropriate for swords and magic. Cool. Yes, sir. Why, the Scaled Lord, what did you... You killed him. Alert the town guard. Tell them that you saw his daughter fleeing the scene. I'm sure their neighbors heard them arguing with each other. They'll immediately suspect her. At once, sir. Earlier that day. Oh. You feel yourself slowly succumbing to unbearable pain. You don't think you'll be able to survive this much longer. Are you sure you're okay, Cuthbert? You look like you're about to pass out. Don't worry about me, Miss Tamora. I'm fine. You've been riding in this carriage for days. You're definitely not fine. With each bump in the road, you feel yourself becoming more and more nauseous. It's taking every ounce of willpower just to hold down your lunch. I'm perfectly fine. If you say so. You feel the carriage drive over a large bump in the road. You can feel and hear your stomach retching in protest. That stew you ate for lunch doesn't taste nearly as good the second time. I'm not doing that noise to my throat or to your ears. What he said? On second thought, that's better. You take a deep breath of fresh air. It's the first breath you've taken today that hasn't threatened to come back out. Sorry about this. I didn't expect the roads in this town to be this uneven. I suppose they don't get a lot of traffic here. You've been on the road with your mentor for days. Together, you've been searching for a man named Flintheart McCoy. Supposedly, he's been a voice of dissidence against King Olivier for the last few decades. You have no idea what kind of business Mr. Mora would have with him. But you know better than to ask questions about her affairs. Hello, travellers. Welcome to Cornhaven. A local merchant steps out from one of the nearby shops. He has a wide smile on his face, and he approaches your carriage with the enthusiasm of a starving vulture. Would a pair of dignified individuals such as yourselves care for a refreshing drink? He certainly has a friendly expression, but his thoughts seem very analytical. Well, I don't need a drink, but... Mr. Moore glances at you, and your stomach rumbles in agreement. Ah, of course. I have just the thing for an upset stomach. His thoughts and emotions are laid bare through your eye of Horus. But the merchant's expression doesn't betray a hint of what he's truly thinking. You wonder if his false smile could get any bigger. At this rate, he might dislocate his jaw. How about 2 flasks of apple juice for 50 silver pieces? 50 silver? You may find the price daunting, but this is organic and fresh-made apple juice. Out of the corner of your eye, you spot an empty bottle of store-bought apple juice. It's resting on a table inside the merchant's shop. Trust me, it's worth the extra gold. Normally, the price wouldn't matter that much to you, but you don't appreciate being treated like an easy mark. I think you need to elaborate. You said that this apple juice is organic, but where is it made? It's produced by the hardworking people of this town, of course. In a small town like ours, we only deal with locally sourced products. Please don't tell me to hit the square button. I have an Xbox controller. You say that, but I can see an empty bottle of store-bought juice inside your shop. Why would you have something like that if you only deal with organic products? Oh, how did that get there? Make no mistake. I only have that because I wanted to see how my products compare to that of the city. And let me tell you, that mass-produced slop doesn't even compare to my product. What an obvious lie. Honestly, I'm offering you a very good deal. Sir, it's obvious those flasks are only worth 5 silver. What? How did you... Well, it's clear you're a very shrewd man. Right. Out of the corner of your eye, you spot a child watching you from afar. Her eyes are fixed on the flasks of apple juice. How about 20 silver for 3 flasks? Of course, sir. Kingdom of Wyvengard, established around 2,000 years ago by the 7 High Archmages. The kingdom is currently ruled by King Olivier de Wyvengard and the mages of his nobility. The nobility will tell you that our marvellous kingdom is a land of prosperity and happiness, a land where its people share the wealth and succor provided by the kingdom's magic. Thank you. The child's passing thoughts tell you exactly how much succor the kingdom is sharing. I didn't know you had such an eye for rural economics. Well, I suppose I just have good intuition for this sort of thing. Or did you use another kind of eye? Don't get me wrong, your so-called Eye of Horus is an amazing gift. You should take every opportunity to hone it. But try to be more subtle next time. If I can see through you, others will be able to as well. Right. Anyways, I did some asking around while you were haggling. Supposedly, the McCoy Tavern should be north of here. my tip is correct, this should be the place. Wait, this is the McCoy Tavern. With the state it's in, calling it a tavern is being pretty generous. You find it hard to believe that this has a secret meeting place for dissidents. But now that you think about it, maybe that's the entire point. The tavern has been shut down for years. Nowadays, Flintheart just uses it to host his rallies. Although, I do wonder how they've been keeping themselves afloat for this long. Hey, you lot. McCoy Tavern is closed. The gruff man approaches your carriage as you step off of it. It's not what it said. He's eyeing you and Ms. Tamora, a clear look of contempt on his face. I take it that you're Flintheart McCoy. I am. What of it? Sorry for not writing ahead of time, but I'm Ruby Tamora. I wanted to speak with you. Ruby Tamora. Wait, the Ruby Tamora. Any animosity he initially had immediately vanishes. He lets out a laugh. It's as if he were meeting an old friend. Why didn't you say so? Come on in. You didn't expect someone like him to know about Ms. Tamora, but you suppose it makes sense. They both fight against the same enemy, albeit in different ways. Sorry about the mess. We haven't exactly been... Well, anyways, what brings you here? I take it you didn't journey all this way to see my wrecked tavern. I'm here on behalf of a client. We have a proposition that you might be interested in. Is there anywhere we could talk more privately? Sure, kitchen's empty. Wonderful. Tyrion, stay here while I speak with McCoy. What? Don't you need my help? There's no need for that. Like hell there's no need for that. If she's trying to make a deal with Flintheart, you can easily read his thoughts to help her. Sitting down. I'll behave. You desperately want to object, but she shoots you a stern look that causes you to freeze up. You slowly look away from her. You spend some time waiting alone in the tavern's dining area. It's already been hours since Mr. Moore and Flintheart went to talk in the kitchen. You can hear faint murmurs from behind the closed door, and you've been resisting the urge to eavesdrop. But sir, drop all the eaves, please. I want to know what's going on. But even from here, you can tell that their conversation is slowly becoming more frustrated. It looks like they're going to be a while. Well, it's a good thing you always bring a chess set around. You bring out the small chessboard that you've carried around since you were a child. Chess can be played with one person, and you've always taken advantage of that. Checkmate. You win against yourself, this time as black. I've played 10 games already, and I've won 7 out of 10 times as black. Hello? Statistically, white is more likely to win. Unbeknownst to you, you're thinking out loud. But why am I performing so much better when playing as black? Hello? You still don't notice her, and you're verbalizing your thoughts just as fast as you're thinking them. Am I becoming overconfident as white because it has a first move advantage? Or perhaps that very advantage is affecting my choices and making me play in a suboptimal manner. If a personal quirk is making me play illogically, then I need to correct it. Hey! What? How long have you been standing there? It's about time you noticed me. I've been trying to get your attention for a while now. Oh, sorry. Do you know where my dad is? Your dad? Flintheart McCoy. I'm his daughter, Celeste. And she is cute as a button, too. Oh, Flintheart is speaking with my mentor right now. Oh, I wanted to show him something. Do you know when they'll be done? I don't know. They've been speaking in the kitchen for a while now. You hear Flintheart and Mr. Mora's voices getting louder and more frustrated, but Celeste doesn't seem to notice. Her eyes seem to be focused on your chessboard. This is chess, right? Are you playing against someone? Oh, I'm playing against myself, actually. Oh, that's... You feel a judgmental stare. Playing alone helps me develop new strategies. Plenty of professionals do it. Hey, I'm not the type to shame a man for playing with himself. That's... Relax, I'm just joking. Anyways, if you're still waiting for your mentor, do you want to play a game? Oh, you know how to play? Sure, I've read about this before. She's read about it. Oh, this table is so dusty. Celeste takes a seat on the other side of the table. She tries to set up her side of the board, but fumbles with the pieces. She stares at one of them, confused. Oh, how do I arrange these things again? A part of you regrets accepting her challenge, but it would be impolite to back out now. Here, I'll arrange them for you. Thanks. Checkmate. You defeat her in 2 moves. Wait, what? Already? How did you do that? You decide against telling her what the name of that mate was. Rematch me. I want to do-over. Sure, why not? It's not as if you have anything better to do. Celeste's brow furrows as she tries to decide on her next move. But she hasn't realized that the game is already finished. Yeah. She moves her knight into a position to attack your queen. It should have stopped your assault on her king, but... Checkmate. A scholar's mate this time. What? Come on, how do you keep doing that? You look at the closed door to the kitchen. Linhart and Ms. Tamora's discussion is becoming louder. It doesn't sound like they'll be done anytime soon. Again, I'll definitely beat you this time. For someone who had clearly never played before, she's quickly improving with each game. It's impressive. She's observing your strategies and adapting them to her playstyle. With the way she's playing now, she could even defeat a nationally ranked noble. Checkmate. But even so, you've been playing this game for a lot longer than she has. How are you always one step ahead of me? It's like you're reading my mind. As if you'd even need to. Just one more game. I'll get you this time. Hello, Cuthbert. Miss Tamora emerges from the kitchen with Flintheart. They both look mentally exhausted. It looks like negotiations didn't go well. Hi, Dad. Oh. Hello, sweetie. Flintheart looks irritated, but as soon as he sees Celeste, he quickly hides it behind a smile. I wonder what their discussion was about. What's this? Some kind of game? Mr. Moore glances at the pieces on the board. Don't feel too bad about losing to him. He's nationally ranked. Oh, you're a professional? Is that why you're wearing a suit? No, chess is just a hobby. I'm actually a defense attorney. An attorney? Speaking of which, we should probably be on our way. Sorry for refusing you after you came all this way. I really respect what you're doing, but I don't want anything to do with your mage friends. Wonder what he meant by that. Was Miss Tamora trying to introduce him to one of our clients? Anyways, it is getting late. If you leave now, you won't get back to the city until morning. She's right. This region is littered with bandits and brigands. You wouldn't want to run into them this late. I guess you have a point. You have plenty of empty rooms that you can stay in until morning. It's the least I can do after you came all this way. Well, if it's not too much trouble, we might as well stay here until tomorrow. The tavern is shut down, but we still have some sheets and blankets. I'll go get the rooms ready. Celeste and Flintheart leave the dining area to get your rooms ready. You're left in the dining room with Miss Tamora. So, I take it that negotiations didn't go well. No, I didn't expect him to be so stubborn. Honestly, I have no idea what that man has against mages. Well, there is one way to find out. Why are you being so secretive? Your business with Flintheart is related to our clients. I can help. It wasn't important, and your presence was not necessary. That's such an obvious lie, but you can't read a single thought from her mind. She's had years of practice hiding her thoughts from the Eye of Horus. Celeste enthusiastically came back downstairs, but she seems to have noticed the tension between you and Ms. Tamora. Sorry to interrupt, but your rooms are ready now. Right. Thank you. An awkward silence hangs in the air as you and Miss Tamora head upstairs. You reach the upper hallway and see the 2 rooms that Celeste prepared for you. Miss Tamora stops before entering her room. You were playing chess with Flynnhart's daughter earlier. Was she any good? Not at first, but she got a lot better as we kept playing. I'm sorry for leaving you there for so long. I didn't expect our discussion to last that long. No, it's fine. Despite everything, I enjoyed playing against her. I see. Well, I suppose you are at that age. No, it's not like that. It's just that outside of tournaments, I never really get to play against another player. And you only ever want to play shogi against me. Because shogi is clearly superior. It's complete anarchy is what it is. You just bring fallen pieces back to life like some kind of necromancer. It adds depth. Dropping adds a dimension of play that isn't present in chess. You sternly look at each other, your positions already made. After a few moments of silence, you both burst out laughing. I'm sorry if it looks like I don't trust you. I know you're just trying to help. But there are some things about my work that I just can't tell you about yet. But one day, I'll tell you everything. Right. I'm sorry for prying. I just want to show you that I'm ready to be an attorney. Ah, I know you are. The rare praise from your mentor catches you off guard. Anyway, get some rest. You should mentally prepare yourself for the journey tomorrow. Right. Completely forgot about the carriage ride back. You can already feel your stomach churning in protest. Lay in the bed that the McCoys prepared for you. As you close your eyes, you slowly drift into a deep slumber. Okay. Music, you don't need to go so hard. This is beautiful. As this happens, you feel something invasive. Your mind drifts away and you feel yourself being pulled elsewhere. Oh, it's so pretty. Even if it is the Eye of Sauron. You find yourself in a surreal and unsettling landscape. You're fairly certain that you're dreaming right now, but some instinct in the back of your mind tells you that something is fundamentally wrong about this. You see a woman in the far distance. She's staring directly at you. What presence? She's murmuring something, but you can't quite make it out. Is she trying to say something to you? Finally, found. Fucking nuts. You're jolted wide awake. Can't exactly remember what that woman said to you. But whatever her words were, they sent a piercing chill down your spine. Your breath is heavy and your heart is beating at 100 miles per hour. Calm down. It was just a dream. At least, that's what you try to tell. Please, just let me explain. I don't want to hear it. You hear the voices of Celeste and Flynnhart ring out from downstairs. It must be extremely late. What could they possibly be arguing about at this hour? I want you out of my house! Out! A dead silence lingers in the air before you hear someone rush out of the tavern. Whoever left slams the door behind them. What was that all about? It's none of your business. You only met those two today. It would probably be best not to get involved in their affairs. And as you tell yourself that, a brief image of Celeste's smile appears in your mind. Damn it. You slowly make your way out of your room, but the hallway is nearly pitch black. You can barely see a few inches ahead of you. You have to watch your step to avoid tripping. You run into Flynnhart, who was slowly walking up the stairs. Even this close, it's hard to see his expression in the darkness. Sorry, I just heard... Right, I forgot you to, His words trail off. Is everything okay? Sorry, I'm just going to... You awkwardly shimmy past Flintheart to head down the stairs. He doesn't move out of your way. Clear his mind is elsewhere. You arrive at the dining room, but you don't see Celeste anywhere. Honestly, though, it's hard to tell with how dark the room is. Celeste? Are you still here? Don't receive an answer. You remember hearing someone slam the front door earlier. Your eyes are drawn to the tavern entrance. Celeste! No answer. Celeste, where are you? Ugh. The merchant you spoke with before steps out from his shop holding a lantern. He appears to be irritated by all the noise you've been making. Oh, you're that kid from before. You haven't any idea what time it is. This isn't the city. You can't just make a bunch of noise like this. Right. Sorry. I was just looking for Celeste. Who? Celeste McCoy. She's Flintheart's daughter. The merchant's expression becomes a little colder. Do you know them? What do you want with that bastard? What? Those two probably woke up half the street with all their yelling. I don't need you keeping us up too. If I hear any more noise, I'm going to call the town guard. Before you can get a word in, the merchant walks back into his home in a huff. You look around, but you still don't see any sign of Celeste. You decide to continue searching. Can't believe I said those things to her. She'll never forgive me for this. I see your temper is as short as ever, Flintheart. You? Honestly, how do you live in this darkness? Luxo. What are you doing here? And how dare you bring that witchcraft into my home? You've been busy lately. Your little rallies have gained quite a lot of support. Too much support for my family's liking. And what? Came all this way to convince me to stop? Have my word. If you stop spreading dissidence, no harm will come to you or your family. Your word is as good as the dirt you lick off King Olivier's boots. As if I'd ever trust the words of a murderer like you. Flintheart, please. As someone you once called a friend, I'm only going to ask you one time. Friend? Friend? I'll be dead in the ground before I ever call the likes of you a friend. Out of my house. I don't have time for your nonsense. Unfortunately, I don't think you'll have much time for anything. Ah! Damn it. Damn it. Flintheart, you fool. Why couldn't you have just listened to me? Rudolph, I require your assistance. Yes, sir. By the scaled lord, what did you... You killed him. Alert the town guard. Tell them that you saw his daughter fleeing the scene. I'm sure their neighbors heard them arguing with each other. They'll immediately suspect her. At once, sir. You've been searching for Celeste for a while. How long have you been outside? 2 hours? 3? However long it's been, it's clearly taking a toll on you. Where is she? What am I going to do now? You hear a faint voice. Could it be? Oh! As you peer behind an old tree, you finally find her. She looks just as tired as you are, probably even more so. Her eyes are puffy and red, but she's doing her best to hide it with a smile. I've been looking all over for you. Oh, sorry. I'm guessing we woke you up? Yeah. Is everything okay? It's nothing. It was just an argument. But from the way she reacted, this is clearly not common. You suppose that it's none of your business. Decide not to pry further. Have you been looking for me all this time? I have. Thank you. But I'm okay now. You should head back. What about you? I think I'm going to stay out a little longer. You know that you should mind your own business, but I'm sure whatever happened between you two, it's nothing you can't talk out. It doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes Miss Tamora and I get into fights too. But no matter what happened, we were always able to talk through it. Sorry, I know it's none of my business, but No, I really appreciate it. Thank you. You're right. Let's go back. What? You arrive back at the McCoy Tavern, but it's now surrounded by several carriages and knights clad in plate armor. Is that the Inquisition? What? The Arcane Inquisition. They're an order of knights that investigate crimes committed using magic. As you say the word crimes, you and Celeste share a glance and come to the same realization. Both of you rush towards the tavern, but Celeste outpaces you by a large margin. What? No! No! She reaches the tavern before you, and before anyone can stop her, she takes a look inside the inn. Whatever she saw makes her cry out in anguish. She drops to the ground in tears. There she is. Celeste McCoy, by the authority of the Wyvern Guard Crown, I'm placing you under arrest. Upon seeing Celeste, one of the knights steps forward and grabs her. Surprisingly, she's able to break free from his grip and tries to push further into the tavern. Noticing the commotion, 3 other knights rush to grab her and begin dragging her away. She kicks and screams against them, desperately trying to break free. Even between the 3 knights, it's taking all of their strength to subdue her. What are you doing to her? What's going on here? Tyrion. Miss Tamora approaches you. You breathe a small sigh of relief when you see that she's okay. Miss Tamora. Ugh, I should have known he was one of yours. Stay out of our way. Miss Tamora, what's going on? Why is the Inquisition here? I'm surprised myself, but from what I understand, Linhart McCoy has been murdered. Murdered? Follow the Inquisition back to the city where Celeste is being detained. According to Ms. Tamora, Celeste was the prime suspect in Flynnhart's murder, and due to the supposed nature of the crime, her case would be pushed to trial immediately. But many elements of the situation still don't make sense. The Inquisition only investigates crimes committed using magic. So why is Celeste their prime suspect? Could she be a mage? This is ridiculous. She has a right to speak to an attorney. Anyways, you find yourself met with another hurdle, a very frustrating one. Yeah, well, we can't let you see her until she's been processed. Her trial is in an hour. How has she not been processed yet? I don't know what to tell you, kid. I wish I could help. You don't need to use the eye to know that's a complete lie. So you're really planning on defending her? Do you know if she can even afford a lawyer? I just can't stand here and do nothing. You saw them, didn't you? There's no way she would murder her father like that. I know that look. It was saving this for a special occasion, but... This is... an attorney's runestone? If you're going to defend her, you're going to need one. You begin to tear up. You've wanted one of these ever since you were a child. It's basically a badge of honor for attorneys. Don't cry, Cuthbert. Sorry. Anyways, keep one thing in mind. If you try to defend her, the Inquisition isn't going to fight you fairly. Our court system only exists to create the illusion of justice. They hate people like us, and they'll do everything in their power to sabotage you. Damn it, you knew they'd try to get in your way. You didn't expect them to do it this blatantly. Ugh, what's with all this noise? You're that knight from the tavern. That's Commander Orem White to you, kid. I had a feeling Tamora would be sniffing around this case, but I didn't expect her to send a kid to do her dirty work. Commander, he says he wants to talk to the mage. And she's got a right to an attorney, doesn't she? Well, she hasn't been processed. Commander White looks confused for a moment. The hell kind of bullshit are you trying to pull? Let him through, you idiot. Yes, sir. The knight leads you through the halls of the dungeon. For something built in the capital, it looks extremely old and decrepit. You pick up the negative emotions of the prisoners nearby. It's a heavy and almost crushing feeling. You've always had to avoid crowded places because of how sensitive you are to people's thoughts. You've never felt this much concentrated despair before. Oh, it's you. Celeste is lying down on the cold floor of one of the dungeon cells, but she immediately gets up as soon as she sees you. What are you doing here? Miss Tamora told me about what happened to your father. I'm so sorry. I just don't understand. I don't understand any of this. Why would someone do this? And why are they blaming me for it? I'm not sure about the details, but it's clear that there were elements of magic involved in what happened. Since they arrested you based on that evidence, I can only conclude one thing. Celeste, you're a mage, aren't you? Yes, I am. Do you have noble blood? Of course not. Why would you say that? Sorry, but the ability to use magic is hereditary. Most mages tend to have some kind of noble blood. I honestly don't like thinking about it. I'm the daughter of Jolene and Flintheart McCoy. That's all I need to know about myself. It would probably be best not to push the matter further. Anyways, you were probably arrested because you're a mage. What? A crime was committed using magic, and you were the only mage around at the time. Is that seriously the only reason? I only know how to cast one spell. The Arcane Inquisition doesn't care about the truth. They only care about closing their cases. Celeste, your case is being pushed to trial. You're going to be brought before a judge within the hour. What? No one told me anything. Damn it, they weren't even planning on telling her. If you'll have me, I'd like to be your defense counsel for the trial. Right, I forgot that you were an attorney. Would you really do that for me? After everything I've seen them do, I can't just stand by and do nothing. But they're a part of the kingdom. Do we even have a chance? Celeste, man, king, or god, I won't let them do anything to you. What? Sorry, it's just something I have a habit of saying. Tyrion, you're a dweeb. No, don't apologize. I really appreciate you doing this. It's clear this entire situation is bittersweet for her, and because of the Inquisition's delays, you haven't had any time to investigate the crime scene. You were confident before, but you begin to doubt whether or not you can really do this. No, you have to do this. This is the exact reason why you became a lawyer. No matter what happens, you'll acquit Celeste. Courtroom. I'm in a real courtroom. Actually, entering the courtroom has taken a lot of wind out of your sails. You've never been here as an attorney before. You've only ever acted as Ms. Tamora's assistant. The woman at the prosecutor's bench is staring at you. Ms. Tamora mentioned her before you went to see Celeste. What was her name again? You think it was Arya Steelwind. You feel the coldness of her glare burrowing into you. Why is she staring you down? Is she trying to intimidate you? Because it's working. Court is now in session for the trial of Celeste McCoy. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Oh, the defense is also ready, Your Honor. He doesn't necessarily sound very ready. Regardless, let's begin the proceedings. Prosecutor Steelwind, please list the charges. The defendant is Celeste McCoy, a mercenary for hire and a registered mage. Wait, did she just say mercenary? Yeah, I had to take up a job after my family's tavern was shut down. Oh, right. That's not exactly the first occupation you'd choose. She's charged with second-degree murder and negligent misuse of the arcane arts. I see, so there was magic involved. Yes, the crime occurred within the McCoy Tavern, a local inn that shut down years ago. The locals reported hearing a loud commotion coming from within the building. Hours later, a carriage driver that was nearby checked the disturbance. It was then that he found the victim, the defendant's sword still impaling his dead body. The Inquisition has provided an autopsy report and a record of the sword. What was the defendant's relationship with the victim? I see that they share the same last name. The defendant is the victim's daughter, but not by blood. She was adopted into the family when she was an infant. Her birth parents are currently unknown. I see. What an unfortunate turn of events. To begin, the prosecution would like to call Commander Orrin White to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. Name's Orrin White. I'm Commander of the Arcane Inquisition. Orrin, could you please testify about the details of the Inquisition's investigation? Yeah. We got a call late at night. Someone discovered a dead body inside the McCoy Tavern. When we arrived on the scene, we found Flynn Hart McCoy dead on the floor. The defendant's sword was still inside of him. We have several witnesses who heard the victim and defendant in a loud argument before the body was discovered. Their argument must have turned ugly, because the defendant killed the victim using her magic sword. Isn't that really incriminating? One of her possessions is the murder weapon. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. You open your mouth to respond, but nothing comes out. You can't think of anything to say. Everything is blank. Mr. Cuthbert. Hey, what are you doing? This is the part where you say something, right? I'm sorry, I don't... Your anxiety is just getting worse, and your breaths are becoming more and more desperate. You hyperventilating. What a disappointment. I was hoping to fight against the infamous Ruby Tamora today, but it's clear you can't even hold a candle to her. Your Honor, it's clear that the defense has nothing to say against the prosecution's overwhelming evidence. Yep, this case is pretty open and shut. No, wait. This isn't what's supposed to happen. I'm sorry, Tyrion. I couldn't acquit Frey. She was found guilty. What? That means... Are they going to execute her? No, not again. Are you seriously going to let that happen again? Tyrion! Celeste grabs your shoulders and shakes you out of your panic. You need to calm down. Her gaze is calm and focused despite the gravity of the situation. She looks stern, not angry. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for this to... Stop. Just listen to me. You know what to do, right? Just do it the same way you play chess. What? I don't know. You were just so calm and focused when we were playing before. No matter how close I got to beating you, you always knew how to stay calm and win. So just channel that feeling and look at the pieces. That doesn't make any sense. And yet... Take a moment to focus and let everything else disappear from the world. Every statement that he made, every word that came out of his mouth, each of those is a possible weakness that you can attack. Every bleak moment can be turned around. You just need to consider every angle. My apologies for the delay, Your Honor. The defense is ready to begin cross-examining the witness. Very well. There we go. Carefully examine every statement he made and find something that contradicts the evidence. Once you do that, present the contradicting evidence and prove that his testimony is false.
Objection!
Commander White, you testified that the victim was killed using the defendant's magical sword. Am I correct? Yeah, it's pretty obvious when you look at the crime scene. I think I'd actually have to disagree with you on that. The defendant's sword couldn't have possibly been the murder weapon.
What are you talking about, kid? The sword was inside his body. Of course that's what killed him. That may be the case, but take a look at the autopsy report. It states that the fatal wound had heavy traces of magic. So how would a non-magical sword leave traces of magic on the body? What? To leave a trace like that, the wound would have had to have been created with something magical. My client's sword may look fancy and expensive, but it is entirely mundane. That doesn't make a lick of sense. If the sword didn't kill him, then why was it in the body? Yes, I find that quite strange as well. Well, there's only one reasonable explanation, Your Honor. The wound was created magically, and someone shoved the sword into the wound afterward. Hell are you talking about? The defendant is a damned mage. She could have easily killed the victim using magic. That may be, Commander, but why would she kill the victim using magic and then stab him with her sword? She would just be incriminating herself. No, if anything, this series of events proves one thing. Someone used magic to kill the victim, and then they pushed my client's sword into the wound to frame her.
Objection!
Don't get ahead of yourself. What? Your Honor, the defense is trying to spin the facts in his favor. He claims that a third party committed the crime and used the sword to frame the defendant. But wouldn't the simpler explanation be this? Magic was being channeled through the sword at the time of death. That is what left the magical trace on the body. Commander, please tell the defense how the murder was committed using magic. What? All right. I think I see where you're going with this. It's true that the sword itself isn't magical, but magic can still be channeled through it. That defendant over there, her spell compendium has a spell called Mage Blade. She must have used it on her sword before stabbing the victim. That spell is the reason why there were traces of transmutation magic on the wound. So her spell compendium contains a spell called Mage Blade. A spell compendium is a magical device that lists every spell a mage can cast. Luckily, Celeste's compendium only contains one spell. That means she can only cast that one spell. Celeste, do you have your spell compendium with you? No, I left it at the tavern after... well, you know. If you can't look at the description for Mage Blade, you'll have to approach this another way. The commander's testimony was a lot vaguer this time. To compress his statements, you might be able to find new information that you can use against him. But why would she go to the trouble of doing that? A sword alone would have been enough to commit the murder. Mages are always looking for an excuse to throw their power around. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Isn't that just your own personal bias, Commander? We don't need to understand why the defendant did what she did. The fact of the matter is that magic was present at the crime. Do you have any evidence of the contrary? You don't. Yet. Oh, no. This would be a lot easier if you knew the parameters of Mage Blade. Perhaps you can get him to add statements or evidence to his testimony. The only thing that you can do now is press his statements. I know, I wanted to go back. I pressed the wrong way. You know, it was that spell. If she used a spell like that, wouldn't that have created traces of magic on the ground? How so? Well, let's say we follow the prosecution's theory. That would mean that the victim fell to the ground with the sword still inside him. At this point, Mage Blade would still be active, right? It would definitely leave a magical trace on the ground after making physical contact with it. We're already way ahead of you. We had our people scan the crime scene. We found traces of transmutation magic right under the body, just like you said. Oh. If you still don't believe me, I have a picture of the crime scene right here. Oh? Why was this picture not brought to my attention? There was no need. This entire case is open and shut. You've seen pictures of the dead before, but it feels different now that the body is of someone you knew. Looks like there are traces of magic on the ground. But this shape is a little weird, isn't it? What was that just now? So you can see it right in this photo. She killed him with a stab from the front. The autopsy report. Stabbed from behind with a magical blade.
Objection!
I'm sorry, Commander White, but it seems that you've presented another glaring contradiction. Oh yeah? What's that? You said that my client stabbed the victim from the front. Am I correct? Yeah, you can see it plain in that picture. So where's your contradiction? That's the thing, Commander. Your picture clearly shows that the victim was stabbed from the front, but the autopsy report says that he died from a stab wound from behind. What?
Objection!
Orem, you were supposed to release everything that you had. Why wasn't this photo given to me? There was no need. There's no way it could have been anyone other than that damn mage. Murmurs ring out across the gallery. It didn't matter how corrupt the justice system was. They wouldn't be able to cover up such blatant incompetence. You have them right where you want them. Order! Order in the court! Mr. Cuthbert, what is the meaning of this? I'll tell you what the meaning behind this is, Your Honor. As the autopsy report states, the victim died from a stab wound originating from his back. But this photo clearly shows that the sword entered from his front. This can only mean one thing. The sword was inserted into the wound after the fatal wound had already been created. That's crazy. You honestly expect us to believe that? Then please enlighten me, Commander White. How else would the sword be facing the opposite way? Do you think my client stabbed the victim with the hilt of her sword? I didn't think so. What really happened is clear. The real murderer stuck the sword through the victim's wound to implicate my client. But they made a careless mistake and stuck the sword through the opposite side.
Objection!
It appears that I underestimated you, Mr. Cuthbert. But you've still got ahead of yourself. How so? Really, Miss Steelwind, I believe that Mr. Cuthbert has adequately cast doubt on your case. Oh, did he now? Then let me ask you one question, Mr. Cuthbert. If your client didn't kill Flynn Hart McCoy, then who did? How should I know? If I'm not mistaken, it's the Commander's job to figure that out. Oh, I'm well aware of the Commander's incompetence. But one fact still stands. There was magic detected on the wound and the sword. Would you like for me to tell you how many mages live in that small town? You don't like where she's going with this. Just one. There's only one registered mage in that entire town. And that mage is your client. What? The defendant was also established to have been with the victim hours before his death. She was the last known person with him, and she was the only mage there. In addition to that, I have several witnesses who heard them arguing. How she murdered the victim is simply an unanswered question. I see. That certainly does change matters. I can't say that the prosecution's evidence is irrefutable, but there is still evidence that casts guilt upon the defendant. Damn it, you almost had them. There are far too many unanswered questions for me to pass a verdict. We will give law enforcement time to clear these unknowns. I suggest that they conduct their investigation more thoroughly this time. We will resume the trial tomorrow morning. Court is adjourned. Oh, I love this so much. Hello, Cuthbert. As you walk out of the courtroom with Celeste, you are greeted by Ms. Tamora. Ms. Tamora, you're here? You recall how you froze up during the first cross-examination. You feel a little ashamed that your mentor saw all of that. Well, at the end of the day, you were able to pull it together. And once you did that, you performed adequately. On that note, I wanted to give you this. My spell compendium. I swiped it from the dining area before the Inquisition arrived. I thought it'd be best for you to have it. So, this is your spell compendium, and it only has one spell. Mage Blade. This means that the prosecution has to prove that Celeste used that specific spell. It will restrict how they approach this case, which gives you an edge over them. But that prosecutor is really something else. You mean Prosecutor Steelwind? You can still remember her ripping glare. It gives you chills just thinking about it. You wouldn't even know it, but this was also her first trial. Really? I'd thought that her inexperience would make for a good first opponent. But that girl, she's a natural in the courtroom. It makes me wonder why a Steelwind would choose to become an attorney in the first place. What do you mean? The Steelwinds are a powerful noble house. Of the noble families, they are one of the few who answer directly to the king. Most members of their house take high-ranking positions in the kingdom's military. So, it's a bit strange that she chose to become a prosecutor despite that. Steelwind. I feel like I've heard it somewhere before. In any case, it's best that you focus on the trial. You have about a day until court resumes. Right. Now that I have time, I'd like to ask you some questions, Celeste. Namely about that argument you had with your father. Oh. You see the bailiffs staring daggers at Celeste. It looks like they're waiting to take her back to her cell. Whatever questions you have for her will have to wait. I should probably go. Celeste walks away while avoiding eye contact with you. Bringing up her argument with Flintheart may have struck a nerve. I'll also use this opportunity to investigate the crime scene. I wouldn't be surprised if the Inquisition missed something. Utterly embarrassed them today. Don't expect them to make the same mistake twice. Right, there are still a lot of things we don't know about. As much as I hate to admit it, your skills of deduction far surpass mine. If anyone can figure out what really happened that night, it's you.
Alright, I think we'll leave it there for now, guys. I am really enjoying this game so far. I'm enjoying the story that's being presented. I'm really enjoying the art style. The music is really good. It sounds awful. I wasn't expecting the music to be so good, so I'm really enjoying that. I wasn't expecting as much ambience as there is as well. I want to know what's going on with Tyrion's dream sequence. What was that? There are so many things to pick at and touch and people to talk to, and I'm really looking forward to getting back into it. I'm not sure how much is left of this episode, but it's clearly very, very heavily inspired by the Ace Attorney games, and their cases tend to take a little while to get through. So hopefully there will be enough left for us to make a proper episode out of next time. And if there isn't, that's okay. We're just going to have to start the second case. Oops. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. And please make sure you ring that notification bell so you are kept up to date with everything that goes on here. Thank you so much for exploring with me today, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye!